21 is usually the age of independence and freedom. It's a time when we start to plan for our future. But for some people, it's an age filled with anxiety and apprehension. Living life behind glass. That's how people living with autism define life. Today, there are close to 18,000 people above the age of 19 with autism in Singapore. Although autism was first identified in Singapore in the 80s, to date, less than 0.2% of autistic adults get help at specialized centers. And with no residential homes catering specifically for these adults, who will eventually take care of them? Year-old Kelvin is one of the oldest students in Pathlight School, the first autism-focused school for children in Singapore. Kelvin has moderate autism and he displays moderate functioning capabilities. This means that he can take public transport on his own, feed and dress himself, and even sit for examinations. Next year will be Kelvin's last year at this special school, after which he has to either find a job or stay at home unemployed. 2 years ago, Kelvin's mother did try to enroll him into the Institute of Technical Education to further his studies. But Kelvin had to be pulled out even before school started.
I noticed that he's not that comfortable with the environment there. What we worried they might not able to have enough autism support. They might not able to manage their behavior. And because of the quick pace of learning, Kelvin might not able to cope it.
Did he say anything to you when you brought him to the ITE?
Yes, he told me that, Mom, I don't really like the place here. I don't really feel comfortable.
With no other educational avenues, Kelvin's only other option is to find a job. At Pathlight, he is attending a vocational baking class, which will prepare him for his job search. This baking skills certification usually takes 6 months for normal students to complete. But for Kelvin and his classmates, they will be given 2 years. With this certificate, Kelvin will qualify to work in a bakery. As Kelvin prepares to join the workforce, he undergoes weekly on-job training with a job coach.
Kelvin, don't take this one. This has got the corner, you know. Done? Done. Okay, very good.
Today, Get Real decides to take an up-close and personal look at how Kelvin goes about training for the real workplace.
Can you show me how you do it?
Okay, first I take one bread. Make sure that it's cut.
Okay.
Open up. Take the tongue. Take one sausage. Put inside.
Okay.
Close.
And you put it inside the warmer.
Inside the warmer. Then continue the same task.
Okay, so you do this.
Full.
Okay, so you do this until the warmer is full.
Yes.
Okay. Continue, please.
Okay.
So the thing is that people with autism don't learn things as easily as you and I would. For them, every single step has to be pictured, has to be spelled out extremely clearly. So they do this with charts. And if you come over here and have a look, this is what one of their charts looks like. Today, Kelvin is preparing a plain hot dog. There are 6 steps which he has to refer to constantly. So once he refers to that and he does it over and over and over again, he remembers it and he retains it. For anyone new who has to learn a process, they have to keep looking at it, doing it, looking at it, doing it over and over again until they remember. Is that correct, Kelvin?
Correct.
Okay, so how long did it take for you to learn how to do this?
Probably must be 2 weeks.
And for those who are moderately to severely autistic, even more important for them to acquire these foundational skills. You know? And beyond that, to understand the culture of work, the dignity of work, the habits of work, that there's a boss, you need to come on time, you need to work when it's time to work, and so forth. These things may not come easily for people with autism, and we need to teach them.
Pathlight says that to date, less than 20% of their graduated students have found employment. These autistic adults are working mainly in food and beverage outlets. Kelvin took 2 weeks to master the operations of a hot dog kiosk, which would otherwise take a normal person 3 days. There are currently only 3 companies in Singapore that are working with autism schools to help ease their students into their work environment.
Are there sufficient employers who are both kind and enlightened and willing to take that extra mile, to make the extra effort, to help these people work more effectively in their workplace on a sustainable basis? I don't think they are sufficient.
I'm already grown up already. My family, they won't give me money when I grow up. Next time, they may retire when they old. So I'm the one who work to earn money and to earn a living to support them and myself.
Do you think or do you believe that Kelvin will be able to earn his own living and support himself in the future?
Of course, I worried that whether he might be able to get a job in the future. So how much have he learned? Can he survive? Can he support himself? Currently, our finance situation, I don't think I can make any plan for him.
After the break, what happens to autistic adults who can't find jobs? Who takes care of them? Alfred was one of the first few in Singapore diagnosed with autism in the 1980s. Before that, people with autism were simply labelled as mentally ill or crazy. At 7 years old, Alfred attended Rainbow Centre, one of the first special schools for the intellectually disabled. This gave his family respite for 2 hours a day. But when he graduated at the age of 12, his parents had to start looking for the next safe haven.
That time was quite difficult. I did try a lot of places, and they recommend me Katong Special School. But Katong Special School take him only 1 week. He said he can't speak, so I can't accept him.
While his parents incessantly searched for a suitable new school, Alfred had to stay home for 1 whole year. He became even more restless and threw violent tantrums in the house. Alfred's parents say that Alfred's tantrums annoyed their neighbor so much that the neighbor called the police.
There was also an incident. She shouted above her voice, telling our domestic caregiver to say, you don't know how to take care of the child. Throw him down. Then after that, he also jumped down. So suggest in a way that, look, better let this person die.
This year, Alfred celebrated his 21st birthday, and one of his greatest gifts, being able to sit down and focus on one task.
Alfred, this is you? Yes, very good.
His parents credit this improvement to the day activity center that Alfred has been attending. It took Alfred's parents 3 years, but they finally found a daycare center for him, one that takes in autistic adults above 19. He goes there for 4 hours on weekday afternoons. This is the St. Andrew's Autism Day Activity Centre. It's one of 2 daycare centres in Singapore for autistic adults. It currently has about 24 adults, and this is its maximum capacity. Since centres like these can help to provide autistic adults with a higher quality of life, then why are there still so few? Well, it all boils down to money. For the last 10 years, social services have been concentrating on early intervention for people with autism, but not much has been done for autistic adults. It costs around $1,300 per month to support just 1 autistic adult at these day activity centres. The government subsidizes about 75% of that cost. But since these centres do not generate any income to cushion the high costs, it can be a monetary strain on the government's welfare resources.
I guess it might be easier to raise funds for children, especially those who are physically disabled, and you can see them, and some of them are cute, and some donors see hope in them when you sponsor the young. Some donors or charities think that those who are older is a chronic problem, and they will, to commit will be too much of a commitment.
Alfred's parents pay $265 a month for him to attend this center. As they belong to the middle-income group, there are no subsidies for him. But while it is a hefty sum to the family, it's a necessary sum. The St. Andrew's Day Activity Center provides a range of physical and mental stimulation exercises for their clients. Part of their daily lessons also includes practical life skills like learning to cook simple meals.
Today I'm joining the Autistic Adults at St. Andrew's Day Activity Center for their weekly outing. Now, outings like these help the adults to get more familiar and more comfortable with being in a public area, and it also helps to create more awareness and exposure of autism with Singaporeans. So, time to go? Let's go? Okay.
Without proper guardians, none of these autistic adults can actually take the bus on their own.
Oh no, you can't touch my bag, it's not yours. Being in social situations can sometimes be a little bit tricky when you're dealing with an autistic individual. Alfred here got on the bus and immediately tried to touch this lady's watch and touch her bag as well. She was nice enough not to get upset about it, but you can see how that might upset someone else if they didn't know what kind of condition that they were dealing with.
For the last few weeks, Alfred and his classmates have been visiting the new premises for the St. Andrew's Autism Center. This $17 million center, which opens in the new year, will take in twice the number of adult clients.
This is the new St. Andrew's Autism Center, which will house the Day Activity Center as well as a new school for its younger clients. This place is huge. It's so much better. It's got a new kitchen, new facilities like a swimming pool, as well as more classrooms for its clients. It can house twice the amount of adults, which will help with these clients coming in. As you can see, some of them are excited, some of them are a little bit nervous. So in order to get used to this new environment, they're taking regular trips every week or every other week just to get used to being in this place, their new school.
As the new St. Andrew's Autism Center prepares to open its doors to more clients next year, it is now urgently recruiting more trainers and teachers. At this autism center, the ratio of teacher to autistic adult is 2:1 for the more severe cases. They hope to reduce it to 1:1. The lack of caregivers is another reason for the insufficient number of adult daycare centers for autistic adults. In the meantime, Alfred's parents are glad that their son has a place to go in the day, offering them some respite from their role as caregivers. But when he is at home, Alfred cannot be left alone. He requires 24/7 attention.
Do you think that Alfred will be able to be left alone? Can he take care of himself?
Oh, cannot. We're not there to leave him alone. We still have to the domestic helper. Because anything, sometimes he don't know how to differentiate to put the utensils into the microwave, like a plastic or metal. Happen he go and put a metal, this thing might burst, you see.
Pathlight only takes in autistic people up to the age of 21, after which those that can't go on to further studies have to wait for a place in one of the 2 autistic day activity centers in Singapore. The longest waiting time so far has been 5 years. In the meantime, adults on this wait list can only stay at home and pass time.
If they're left at home alone and not doing anything very much except watching TV and eating tidbits, So that's not good for their health, that's not good for there's no quality of life. They won't be able to sustain some of the skills that they have actually achieved over the 20 years that they have early intervention, but it's not being sustained. And so eventually 20 years later, whatever skills that may be taught may be lost.
After the break, with no home specially catered for the autistic elderly here, Get Real finds out what their last resort is.